Hey everybody, this week we have a really cool video for you. This is my friend Cassidy, and she does some awesome stuff online in an incredibly tiny niche compared to most of the sites that we talk about on this YouTube channel. So thanks for being here, Cassidy.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited.
So to somebody who hasn't seen your site before, what is it?
So I blog at succulentsandsunshine.com, and we teach people how to grow succulents wherever they live.
So it's such a tiny little area. Like, to be honest, like even as somebody who teaches blogging, if somebody would tell me that's their idea for a site, I'd probably say it's too small. And you've obviously proved that wrong because your site has just done amazing things. Can you give us an idea of what kind of success you've seen with your site?
Yeah, so actually it's interesting because whenever people say, "Oh, it's so small," it kind of makes me chuckle a little bit because I actually feel like it's too big. I feel like we have issues because we're not focused enough. I would say on average right now we're probably seeing this is a slower month for us. January is where we start picking up, but we're getting anywhere from 350 to 500,000 page views a month, sometimes more, but that's where we average. And then last year, as far as like gross revenue, we hit just under 200,000. Like we probably should have run a
That is
promo. So
awesome. It's
yeah,
incredible. $200,000 and 350 to 500,000 page views from this one little category. That's absolutely fantastic. I want to kind of focus our interview on three different areas. First, how in the world do you monetize something like that? Second, how do you get traffic in a niche like that? And then third, like, I want to know what you're doing to blow it up. Because I think for me, it would be really easy if I had a site like that to get it to 20, 30,000 page views. But I could easily see myself capping out, and be like, okay, that's what I can kind of do in a small niche like that. And you've taken it so much further than really anybody could in a small niche. And so I want to kind of focus on those three questions. So let's talk about the monetization first.
yeah. So ads are a big chunk, and we're working to be really not completely diversified, but trying to have balance with all of our income so that we're not relying on any one thing. So between affiliates and then display ads and then also our own products, digital products that we're selling, we're about an even split, like a third of each of those. So with affiliates, initially I was not convinced that anyone would buy succulents online, but I've since been proved wrong with that. So we have a couple different companies that we work with that do sell succulents online that we're affiliates for, and that's actually one of our biggest affiliate income sources is those different companies. So that's been really awesome. But I actually started out selling through being an affiliate for Etsy. So there are a variety of sellers on Etsy who sell succulents. And that's where I first realized, oh, there's people out there not only selling, but buying plants on Etsy or just, online. And so we still do a decent amount with Etsy. Etsy and Amazon are kind of like our low income affiliates, but worth doing because people shop both those platforms. And the other one that is really odd to most people is we actually sell soil as an affiliate. So there's a guy down in Florida. He's fantastic, like as nerdy as you could possibly get about soil. That is him. He's a programmer turned soil lover. I mean, it's great. So that's another income source too. And
So
then,
selling
yeah,
the soil, so people just order soil off his website and you get a cut from that?
yep,
Okay,
yeah, it's
interesting.
awesome.
Okay, so can you give me an idea then of, advertising versus affiliate versus your course? Like, I'm assuming those are kind of our three buckets of income. What kind of percentage about would come from each?
So they're about even between the three. So usually well, yeah, they're really kind of even. Initially, ads were like the biggest chunk. They were probably more like 40, 50%. And then affiliates and our own products, the course and the ebooks, were another 25 each. But we've been making big improvements to both the way we're promoting our affiliates and also the way we're promoting our own products. And so I'm pretty sure last month we were almost spot on.
I usually see that though, that like a website will start really heavy one way with monetization, and as it matures, it's easier to diversify into different things.
Yeah. And I mean, ideally, we would be making a lot more money with the sale of our own products. That's kind of where we're headed. But I honestly love having all three because if we're doing some split testing and it doesn't work out better than it was before, it's nice that we're not like losing out on all of our income because sales were down of our own products. So it's nice that they all balance each other out and then we're not relying on any one thing.
So if somebody had a website kind of in this space, where would you tell them to go to find those good affiliate offers?
The best way I feel like is just to look at what other people are promoting. So actually all of the programs that we promote, with the exception of Etsy and Amazon, they're all private programs. So it's something that I set up with the seller. One of our biggest affiliates, I actually reached out to them, I think it was 4 years ago, and said, "Hey, I have this website. I'd love to sell your product." But they weren't big enough. They weren't ready to take on affiliates at that time. So then they reached out to me 2 years ago and they're like, "Okay, we're ready. We want to work with you." And so they basically set up the program just for me. And then I've also recommended other people that they can use as affiliates, because if they're using more people as affiliates, the program's more likely to stay in place. Whereas if I'm their only person and sales drop, they could drop the program.
All right, so I have an idea of the monetization and what you're doing there. Let's talk about traffic. So you're getting 350 to 500,000 page views a month. How many total articles do you have on a site?
I would say we probably have, I'm trying not to say it too low, but I want to say we have about 200.
Okay.
And so in my head, like traditional blog posts, there's 100, but then we have these FAQs and then also some types of succulents articles. And I think they have about 50 each. So total, I would guess there's about 200 pages.
Awesome. And what works for you? Like, what have you learned in writing 200 blog posts and watching the traffic over many years grow on this website? Like, what kind of articles gets the traffic?
So I've found that like the how-to kind of posts or posts where we're answering people's questions are a lot more effective than say like project posts. So we have some where we show how to make a wreath with succulents or things along that line. Those get some traffic on Pinterest, but where we really make the most money and also are getting the most traffic, especially organically, is from how to water succulents. Why is my succulent dying? Things where it's a problem people have and they want to know how to fix it. And then the other thing that we've been focusing on lately is also focusing in on specific types of succulents. So phrases like how should I water my aloe vera, as opposed to just how do I water my succulent. And that's kind of an expanded market that we're getting into right now that we've also seen a really high engagement with, because we're providing these huge posts that give them really detailed information on the answer to their question. So it's really based around questions that our readers have, and keywords fall into place after that.
Okay. Now, what is the usual word count of your articles? I'm sure it depends, on how big the topic is, but can you give me a general range?
Yeah, so my target is generally 1,000 words. I feel like my audience likes things long enough, but also really digestible. And then the other thing that I don't know how true this is, but we've focused on is actually asking for comments. And every once in a while, we'll feature the comments in the blog post. Like if we get the same question over and over from the comments, we'll go back and update the blog post and add that question into the post. And so we're kind of using the comments as a way to add more length or more content to the post. And that's helped actually flush out and kind of expand quite a few of our posts.
Awesome. And how about traffic from Google versus social media, Pinterest, YouTube, etc.?
Yep. So we're about 65 to 70% organic, Google traffic, 15-ish% from Pinterest, and then everything else kind of just trickles from
Random
there.
stuff.
Yeah. So, I mean, we're definitely generating a lot of money through our email list, but it's not necessarily driving a lot of traffic. And trying to think if yeah. So between like our weekly emails and then some autoresponders we have set up, those, maybe account for 5% of the traffic, but they're about 50% of sales of our own products.
Okay, so we see how the monetization is working and getting the traffic. Now let's talk about like what you've done to build it up to where it is today.
The thing that has really helped me get through some of those, and even currently is making a huge difference, is community. The thing that I have found to be the most effective is answering people's questions. We'll ask things in our Facebook group like, hey, what's working for you right now with watering your succulents? Or what is something that you just cannot figure out when it comes to keeping your succulents alive? And just really asking probing questions where they'll hopefully give us answers that we can either improve our posts or come up with new content. So that's actually these types of succulents pages that we've been working on recently. That came because we kept having people email us and say, hey, I want to know how to keep my zebra plant alive. And I'm like, well, just read the watering post or just read the indoor care post. Like, it's all there. But people are asking for like specific needs of a plant. And so that's been the biggest thing for me, is listening to the audience and letting them direct what comes next. Because I feel like if it's just me being like, well, what do I feel like doing today? I might hit on something that they like, and it might just be contagious from my energy of just being excited about something. But the things that really resonate best are things that our readers are asking us or that we're noticing pop up, other places.
So I want to find out like what areas in your business you're excited about for growth in the future now that you've done so much in this one area. If I were to tell you that your revenue jumped from $200,000 a year to $400,000 a year over the next 2 years, what would you say was probably the cause?
Improving conversions on sales of our own products. That's really what's getting me excited at the moment, is we have a ton of traffic. And yes, we can probably grow our traffic, but I'm realizing where we're probably falling short is better promoting our own products, not just to increase sales, but because the products are really what's going to help people get through their struggle. We did some testing and we changed up the sales page for our course. And just from making a few changes to that page, we were able to increase sales by 30%.
Wow.
So that I kind of geek out about numbers and analytics and things like that. So seeing that change, that improvement, and that it really didn't take that much time or effort, that's really where we're focused, is on presenting our products better so that we can increase conversions. And part of that's through getting more email subscriptions and then also having better funnels set up to really guide people through the content and then also present them with solutions in terms of products that we sell.
Awesome. To many of our YouTube subscribers who are starting new websites, what's the one thing? What's the one thing they can do that if they did that thing enough, they would probably succeed?
So my inclination is to give something that's kind of generalized, because I feel like it's the thing most people don't do, and it's just working on something. So I feel like I talk to a lot of people who find out what I do and they're like, oh my gosh, that's so amazing. I want to do that. Awesome. You should do it. But you actually have to do something. So where I generally recommend people start is, if you have a topic, awesome. Start just like brain dumping ideas. I, at one point, had floor to ceiling in my bedroom a list of ideas for succulents, and it was 3 feet, nope, 4 feet wide. And then, like I'm saying, floor to ceiling, 18-point font. Tons of ideas, all for succulents and sunshine. So I feel like
Somebody's
if
going to
you were
walk
just
in that room and think you're a mass murderer. with all your
Oh,
stuff
yeah.
spread everywhere, newspaper clippings and
Seriously.
people circled.
Yep. My husband called it the psychopath wall. But I think that's the thing, I don't know, that a lot of people are missing is like, it doesn't matter if they're good ideas or bad ideas, but just write them all down so that you can come back later and be like, oh, that was actually a really good idea I had. Now let's move forward with that. But if if you don't have anything going, start by just writing 5 or 10 articles, see if you like it, see if you want to keep going in that direction. Because if you're going to be the one doing the work, you want to make sure it's something that you're excited about. So just test out the waters, try writing something, keep a giant list of ideas so that you always have something to go back to on those days when you're like, I don't really want to do anything right now. I don't know what to do. Then you have something to pull from and hopefully get you excited about it.
Well, awesome. Well, where can people check out everything you do?
Yes, so you can go to succulenceandsunshine.com. It's the place to be.
Very cool. Well, thanks for talking with us.